Many of you have been coming to Lay's for years and to the guitar department and the various recording studios here on Kenmore Boulevard. Kenmore is full of musicians, working musicians. And that can partially, I believe, part of that can be attributable to Virgil Lay setting his business up at the corner of 13th Street and Kenmore Boulevard almost 60 years ago. So we gather here tonight to celebrate Virgil, to celebrate the fact that we're getting a newly paved alley in a few months, and we will dedicate this alley as Virgil Lay Way. Woo! So we have some folks here that want to say a few words regarding Virgil, maybe some funny things you didn't know about. Some notes of thanks, and we've also got the Speedy family behind us. Patricia, Virgil's daughter, children and grandchildren. It's just a really cool opportunity to recognize the folks that are behind the business owner, as well as the business owner, and the legacy that the business owner has left on Kenmore Boulevard. So first, I'd like to invite Councilman Mike Freeman here. He represents Ward 9 here in Kenmore and has for many years. So, Mike, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you. Politician, a few words. Those are not synonymous. But I heard an interesting story, and I had not heard this before. Apparently, it was Alabama. I guess Virgil and his brother originally were coming from, and there was a flip of a coin to see which one would go to Florida, which one would go to Akron, Ohio. I don't know if Virgil won the coin toss. He ended up in Akron, Ohio. But you know what? I'm glad the coin toss went the way it did, because we have this today. And I was thinking on my way over here, I thought, does anybody in here ever listen to rock and roll? Okay,
What kind of question is that?
I would venture to say those of us that have been rock and rollers for years, we have somehow been touched by this man. And we will never, ever, ever, ever know until, I was going to say we get to rock and roll heaven, but I won't say that. Right? Real pleased with what's taking place here on the Boulevard. I've been involved the last few years with a lot of ribbon cuttings. This is the place I grew up. This is the street that I roamed 50 years ago. And it's good to see transformation happen. And it's because of businesses like Lay's. It's because of businesses like SIT Strings that came here and stayed here and were anchors here. So I want to thank Lay's especially for choosing to stay on Kenmore Boulevard. Kenmore Boulevard, if you don't know, it is the largest small business district in the city of Akron. And we are seeing a lot of great things happen here. We're grateful to see a lot of residents, business owners, just concerned citizens pitching in, helping to make some things here. And of course, I bow to the wonderful work of Tina, all right? I'm not worthy to be in your presence. Thank you for everything that you've done. I'm also, I don't know if you're aware, but there are multiple, yes, that's right. Let's do that one more time. A lot of you may not be aware, but there are multiple recording studios on the Boulevard. Obviously, guitar-related businesses, live music venues, and I think, not just because I'm the councilman, I think I can say unequivocally that Kenmore Boulevard is kind of becoming Akron's music row, and we want to see that progress continue to take place. So I'd like to invite Dan. I don't know y'all, okay? So Dan and Eddie and Patricia and any other family members, we're going to cut a piece of ribbon here. Please come on up and join us. All right?
Thank you, Mike, so much. Can we give him a hand? A lot of this is because of him. He's put hard work in over many years. We've got a couple representatives of the two businesses that he mentioned. First, I'd like to bring up Tim Fouts, who's the vice president at SIT Strings. SIT Strings, yeah. Funny story. You may not know this. SIT Strings actually started in the basement of the Kenmore Coffee Shop, along with the Lay's guitar repair. But then they moved later to the basement of Pierre's Brooklyn Pizza Shop. So they moved a block down, and now they're just up on Roman Road, which I still consider Kenmore. I don't know about you, but would you like to say a few words, Tim?
Thanks. I should have notes. First, I'd like to thank the Kenmore Neighborhood Alliance. This wouldn't be happening without them. And also Corey over here. This is kind of his brainchild, so we appreciate it and all his hard work. As representing SIT strings, everybody kind of has a Virgil story. There's too many. It's too hot to go into all of them. But those who did know him know that you made it to the inner circle if he invited you to the band to listen to some classical gas on the stereo. But, Virgil really is the founder of SIT strings. And everything that we still do there is because of him. Most of our sets still say Lays on the top of it. And Virgil, no matter what he did, he was always trying to make things better. And at the time, when you're in it, you don't see it, but whether it was a piece of plywood or some duct tape, he was always trying to fix something or make something work a little bit better. And so we still try to do the same. Again, we're appreciative of everybody here that came out for the event, and again, from the Kenmore Blvd, and also the city of Akron.
Now, none of this would be possible without the name on the building. Actually, the name on the back of the building now, too, if you haven't seen it. There's a beautiful mural on the back of Lay's Guitar Shop. If you haven't seen it, mosey up the alleyway after we finish here. But Dan Shin has owned Lay's Guitar Shop since 1988. I was going to say 1988. He's an OG in Kenmore, too. So Dan has been here. He's seen good, bad, and ugly, but I think he'll agree that things are really turning around for us here. And we're grateful to all the musicians far and wide. I mean, you guys have folks as far as Detroit, Western New York, Pennsylvania. They drive their instruments to these guys. Some instruments are even shipped overseas for these guys to finish and to work on by rock stars from all over the world. I mean, they're very humble. They won't tell you that, but every once in a while you hear about a Pete Townsend. Maybe not from Pete Townsend, but you had a couple of Pete Townsend guitars in there not too long ago. So, Dan, please say some remarks about, just the legacy of Lays and what you guys are doing here on the board.
Well, like Tim, I wanted to thank you, Tina, for all the hard work you do trying to revitalize Kenmore. It's been a lot of work. And
Speak up.
It's an ongoing process. And people, she mentioned it, come from all different parts of this part of the country. That's why I kind of chose to stay in Kenmore, for the simple reason that people were used to coming here. And so when I moved out of the basement to the location there in '94, it took a little while for people to readjust just up the street, but it's a lot better than readjusting in something else. But Virgil was always one of those kind of guys. If you brought him a problem, one way or the other, he's going to fix it. He always had this saying, the buck stops here. And so that was something that I kind of took to heart. And people come into here with an instrument that they love, and they want to get it so they can use it. So you give it your best shot to get it to where they can really enjoy it. And that's something that we hope to continue to do. I've got some young people that are working with me now that are doing phenomenal work, and I really appreciate them as well. And none of it's possible if it wasn't for the things that Virgil did. One of those, I loved his Joe Walsh stories. Joe Walsh kind of viewed Virgil as basically almost like a father figure, and he really respected Virgil, and so did I. I learned a lot of things. My dad taught me a lot of things, but I learned, even more so from Virgil. And we're going to do our best to continue that legacy on.
Is the brainchild of my counterpart and co-worker here, Corey Jenkins. And Corey Jenkins came onto the organization, last year? About this time, right? So, we got the car trying to pass it. So, when Corey came, one of the things I knew about him is he had two connections here in the neighborhood. One of them was to SIT students, Virgil Lay himself. And as we got to know one another, and I heard more and more stories about Virgil, and we thought, what can we do special to put a brand on the neighborhood? We knew we were music, but he came up with Virgil Lay Way, and we said, man, that's got a ring to it. The city agreed, and here we are. So Corey worked with Virgil for a few years when he was in his early 20s, and we've asked him to come up and say a few words about his history with him. He's got a few anecdotes, I think, too. Come on up, Corey.
I do have notes. Virgil Lay was a legend among local guitar players. When I first started taking guitar lessons at Henry's Music as a teenager, I heard his name mentioned by my teacher, the people who worked there, customers. They always talked about Virgil's work and what he had done in his relationships. So by the time Eddie hired me to work at SIT and I met Virgil, it felt like I was meeting a celebrity. I was 20 and Virgil was 78 when I started winding strings at SIT. I was a young, inquisitive mind, and he was a wise, experienced one with plenty of knowledge to share. Early on, Virgil showed me the first guitar he'd ever built, an acoustic for his wife, Barbara. I remember asking him how he formed the binding around the top. He said he boiled it on his kitchen stove until it was soft enough to bend. I realized two things about Virgil at that moment. He was very resourceful and could get any job done with the tools and materials he had on hand, and he liked to share knowledge. If you took an interest in him, he took an interest in you. During my time at SIT, Virgil continued to teach me, even showing me the process he developed to help strings stay on tune. Looking back now, I can see how he rubbed off on me both as a musician and in my day job. When I need to solve a musical or professional problem, I remember what Virgil taught me. I have everything I need at my disposal as long as I'm thoughtful, creative, and embrace the process of trial and error. While I only had the privilege of knowing Virgil for a couple of years, I think I knew him well enough to say he probably didn't set out to build the legacy he did here on Kenmore Blvd. But nearly 6 decades after he opened his shop, it's a destination for guitar and bass players. Not just clients of Lay's Guitar, but customers at the guitar department, former customers at Musician's Bargain Basement, performers at the Rialto Theater, Shady Side Park, the Bank Lounge, and Kenmore First Friday, recording artists who patronize the 6 recording studios here on Kenmore Blvd. Had Virgil Lay not opened his repair shop here, Kenmore Blvd wouldn't be the creative place it is today. Every time I head on stage and my guitar stays in tune, and every time I solve a creative problem, I think of Virgil. I want to thank his friends and family for sharing it with me and for inviting me to share my story.
Thanks, Corey. Mike, would you like to come on up and do the honors? Ready? There we go. Thanks, Patricia, Mike, Eddie, Tim, Dan, Corey, the whole family. I hope you enjoy this night. This is a special night for us, but it's especially special for you guys. So thank you for sharing Virgil with us. Thank you guys. Now, please stick around. We've got some great music coming to this stage, the SIT String Stage. We've got Buffalo Riders coming up at 6:30, I believe, 6:45. And Big Pop is going to round us out at 8 p.m. We also have 2 stages on either side of the boulevard, up on the 13th to 14th Street block in the courtyard and down beside Kenmore Comics. We've got the Electric Company Recording Studios, got some artists down there. And First Glance, the local youth organization, has up-and-coming hip-hoppers up there. So if you want to hear some interesting new stuff and get to know some kids, great place to go. Please enjoy the food, the vendors, and have a great night, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.